If you have any questions, please raise your hand. We'll get the microphone to you so you can go ahead and ask your question. I've also been asked to tell you that the media lunch will be from noon to 2 in the south end lobby. All right, so let's go ahead and open it up for questions. Anybody have any questions? Let's start over here, Cooper. Colton.
How's it going? Good to see you guys. I guess kind of the initial thing is, how are you enjoying your time here, and, kind of antsy to go at this point for either of you?
Yeah, I think so. I think we're all revved up and ready to go. I'm super excited to be here, super excited for our game coming up. And, yeah, we've loved our time here. Got out a little bit yesterday and were able to see kind of around the downtown area here. So that was pretty cool too. But, yeah, definitely excited to go and ready for our game coming up.
Colton, I apologize. I forgot to say, please don't video anything in here. You can get that off the feed. But Colton, do you have another question? Let's go back to Colton.
I guess I'll direct this one to Charlize. Obviously, still new territory for the program, back-to-back tourneys and everything, this kind of success. But what can you kind of take away from last season and coming into this one, making back-to-back tourneys? Were there a little bit of, maybe jitters being in that tournament last year, and do you see some of that stuff kind of wiped away in this one going into the second one in a row?
Yeah, I think definitely a bit more nervous last year. Obviously new for a lot of us, probably just Crystal, who is the only one who had been to a tournament. And so just a lot of new things to, get your head around. Playing a team you've never played before. It's different to, conference games where you've played them 2 or 3 times. So I think this year we've all got a lot more experience, all being here in the same position last year. I think we're a bit more locked in, focusing more on things we can control, our scouting stuff, going into trainings, knowing we have to have good trainings. We've only got, a couple before we play a really good side. So, yeah, I think we're a bit more prepared this year, and hopefully we're all locked in and ready to play on Saturday.
Let's go right there.
Hey guys, Kelly Graham will be calling the game on ESPN. First of all, I feel like February you guys started playing really well, strung together some wins. We know in the quarter against Utah struggled to shoot it a bit, but what do you think changed in February? You talk about being locked in. Is there anything specifically you can tell us about that?
Crystal, could you go first, please?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think February, it's kind of getting down to that business end time, and as we kind of said, we kind of made a run last year and had a majority of our team back, and we're really locked in, and we knew our goals, and we knew we wanted to be here and put ourselves in a position to be here. So I definitely think February was kind of like that light bulb moment where it's like, we better show up now. Otherwise, there's no time left. So yeah, definitely think that maturity and just, knowing the time of the year and the time of the season, and knowing that we want to peak now is definitely a big reason, I think, why we kind of played better in February, and hopefully why we're on a little bit of a run now coming into this.
Yeah, and just to add on to what she was saying, I think one of the key reasons that we did, perform well was that team chemistry and team culture that we've been, focusing on throughout the entire preseason, and then carrying that over into, January, February. So I think a lot of things started coming together for us. We knew what was working, what wasn't, and we really tried to hone in on that stuff to get us, obviously, crucial wins that we needed.
Let's go back to Kelly.
Okay, you bring up the team chemistry. You guys are a melting pot, I guess is the word, of a lot of international players. But a team that brought back a lot. So you guys have known each other for a while, played together. What is it like? I mean, how many are we hearing different languages in the locker room? Just describe to us that vibe.
Charlize, could you answer this first, and then we'll give Crystal a turn?
Yeah. You do hear some different languages sometimes, which is it's pretty cool, I think. And I think it can go both ways. I mean, when you have a lot of different international players, you have a lot of different styles of basketball coming in, and I think that's on one side, really, really cool because you have different experiences. People know how to play the game different ways. And I think that's also helped our team a lot. And then there's also an area where you need to figure out a balance and bring everyone's styles together and work out, the best way that you can play with that all those styles. So we love it. I mean, I love playing with international players and obviously our Americans too. But you just kind of bond over that fact that, you know, you're all away from home, you go through the same struggles, and I think that's really brought us together.
Crystal, is there anything to add?
I think she covered most of it, but yeah, definitely I think that off the court bond that we've created from all being away from home and, you know, having to spend those holiday breaks together and all of those little things have really helped our chemistry. And yeah, but in saying that, we have had 2 years to get to know each other and kind of build that bond as well.
Let's go back to Colton.
I'll direct this one toward Crystal. Cammy's talked a lot in the last, few weeks about how much more complete of a team this is. I guess what do you think were some of the shortcomings last year that have been smoothed out at this time? You talked about chemistry. Is it more of a kind of a mental part, or what are some things maybe on the court you think you guys are better at than you were last year?
Yeah, I think, last year we were still pretty under the radar. Not many people knew about us, and it was kind of our coming out year a little bit. But yeah, I think that was kind of like one thing for us. And then, sorry, I'm losing it.
I think also, just to add on to that, last year, I think a lot of the girls too maybe weren't as confident in what they can and couldn't do. And I think this year, you see Bella, obviously, she's the co-improved player of the year, and I think she's really come into her game herself. Johanna's more confident in getting her shot up. We have people coming off the bench really making an impact on the game, and I think everyone's just a bit more confident in who they are and what they want and their roles on the team. And again, I think that goes back to, that second year, everybody knows what they can do. Coaches, really laid it out for us, and so I think that's also helps a little bit where, last year we might not have really known what everybody was going to do.
Let's go back to Kelly.
So you guys are both from New Zealand. We can tell, accent, we love it. So what did you know about American basketball growing up? What did you know about college basketball, WNBA? Who did you like watching? I'm just curious about your basketball childhood growing up.
Crystal, could you start, please?
Yeah, I mean, our mum was a big basketball player, but she never really left home. So I don't think we knew much about the college system, but we always watched, the WNBA, the NBA, and kind of saw all those superstars. And growing up, I think Sue Bird was like always my idol. And then I don't think we quite knew how big the college system was. Like, we knew all the big name schools and a lot of the Power 5 places, but we didn't really know how big Division I basketball was and how big of a deal like the tournament is and March Madness and all that stuff. So coming over here and learning about all of that and just really being immersed in it has been awesome, and just a new experience and something that we never even kind of knew, I think, like what to expect or what it was like over here. But yeah, definitely kind of, had a little bit of experience watching college, and there were a few girls from New Zealand. I think we knew maybe like three girls that had come over, but there weren't many. But definitely I think in the last few years, like even just the last 4 years that we've been here, we've seen a lot more New Zealanders at least come over, and yeah, just really gotten to know this college system and how this whole thing fits together and works. So it's definitely been awesome, but a lot of new things that we didn't really know before getting here.
Yeah, and I think back home, one of the main points to influence girls to come over to play college basketball is the academic side of it, to get, a free scholarship and be able to play here. And so I think when you think about that, nobody really honed into the basketball side of things. Like Krista was saying, we didn't really understand how big it was. Even me personally, the year before, all I kind of knew was what Krista was doing in college and just seeing her progress and, in the Big Sky and those types of things. So yeah, coming over, I didn't really understand it until I was here in college as a freshman, experienced everything. Everything was still new to me. We made the tournament, and again, I still didn't realize how big that was until everybody was telling us. So yeah, it's definitely a different world over here, but I think a lot more Kiwis back home are realizing now that it is such a great opportunity and a really good pathway to go, and it can lead you on to bigger things within basketball.
Let's go back to Colton.
Of course, still games to be played, and Charlie's still time to go in the college career. But could you just both speak on kind of your place in this quick rebuild, and what would you both kind of like to leave behind as your legacies at Wazoo?
Charlize, could you go first, please?
Yeah. For me, I know you said kind of a quick rebuild, but I would actually say it goes a lot deeper than that. We have girls in this program who have been here with Coach E from the start, and there's no way that we would have had the success last year and this year that we would have without them, going through the battles and struggles that they did in their first years, losing games by a lot and not having any conference wins, games like that. And so I just want to give them credit for that first off, because, obviously that's a big thing. But yeah, I'm just, super grateful that I came into a team that already had that foundation laid out, and they knew and they were strong about what they wanted to achieve. Coaching and her coaching staff every day, talk about their values and morals and where they want to see this team headed. And I think that's really important for us as players, because we can see that vision, and that's, the discipline that we need to come in and the motivation that we need to, do what we have to do on the court every day. And so for me, kind of the legacy part, I think I would want to continue this kind of winning attitude. I think that hasn't been embedded in this program in such a long time. And I think we're still getting there as well. I don't think we're completely there yet, but I think I want to leave here knowing that anybody who comes into the program, really has a chance at competing against top teams in the nation, if not in the Pac-12 conference. So, yeah, I think that's one of the things I would want to leave.
Yeah, definitely. Me too. I think that's a big thing. I want to, put this program on the national stage and have us in all those conversations. And when people think basketball, they think of our school, and, we're in all those talks. So I think that was a goal coming in here, and that was something the coaches spoke to me. Obviously, I'd played for them before playing here at Washington State, so they kind of told me the expectation, and they're like, this is where we want the program to go, kind of how Charlie said. We want to turn this program around, win games, build a strong culture, all those things. So definitely, I think, as Charlie's mentioned, we've kind of ticked some of those boxes and we're getting there, but not there yet. But yeah, definitely just want to keep this program building and growing, and just keep us in these conversations and keep coming back to this tournament and things like this.
Let's go back here. I'm Sam. I'm calling the game with Kelly tomorrow. I'm curious, what is there going to be a watch party back home? Like, I know it's going to be a lot different time, but will you guys have family watching, and how are they going to be able to see you guys play?
Crystal, could you go first, please?
Yep, we sure have a band of fans back home, and all our family and friends follow us. It will be, I think, 4:30 a.m. in the morning, so not sure how committed they are, but I'm sure they'll record the game and might watch it later and just, turn off social media and that. But yeah, definitely have a band of fans back home that are supporting us.
Charlize, anything to add?
No, not really. I'm just, same as Crystal. There's going to be a lot of people watching from home. I think they're all really excited. It's not every day you get to see, two Kiwis going up against, great players and great teams here over in America. And so, yeah, I think there'll be a lot of support.
Any other questions? Kelly?
What do you guys know about Kansas State? Obviously, Ayoka Lee is a big star with her 61-point game. Sundell, the freshman point guard, has played really well. Just give us some things that you're looking at with K-State.
Charlize, could you start?
Yeah, I think obviously Lee has been a focus for us. She's an amazing player, great size, and so I think we've talked a lot about how we are going to plan around that and scheme around that about how to play her. But I also think, a lot of it is focusing on what we can do also on the offensive end, and how we can go against their type of defense with her in there. And yeah, Sundell, she's been playing great too. Point guard for their team, really long, tall, and plays well with Lee, I think, as well. So those two have really been a key focus for us, and yeah, we're just trying to figure out what's the best way to kind of contain those two.
Okay, we've got time for one more question from the room, and then I've got a couple of Zoom questions. Is there one final question, or are we good here? All right, let's go to the Zoom question, and we have Jamie Vinnick. Jamie, can you hear me?
I got you.
Go ahead with your question.
Yeah, so this can be, I'll start with Charlize. Last year, I think you kind of touched on it, there was a little more wide-eyedness and a little more kind of starting to kind of, try and figure out what this whole situation was about and understand the gravity of it. Do you kind of feel like, this entire year you've kind of been working towards getting to this second year of tournament games and doing so with a little more experience and a little more, I think, as you said, locked in determination rather than kind of playing the game, but also still kind of trying to fill yourself out at this level?
Yeah, definitely. This was, the biggest goal for us was to get back to the tournament and to get, to the second round, because we didn't do that last year. And so I think the whole year that's been on the back of our minds. Obviously, you play every game as it comes and you focus on certain things. But, I think as a team, we've really locked into that mentality of doing what we need to do to get back here and put us in a position where, we can tick off another first for our program.
Jamie, I can give you one more question if you have one.
Yeah, I got one more.
All right.
And this can be for either one of you. Last year it seemed that there was kind of it was kind of an up and down road to the finish line. There were some losses in there. You guys had lost some players. This year, kind of a much different story. 9 of your last 13, the only losses coming to tournament teams. Does it change, the confidence at all when you're kind of coming in here on a bit of a run, when you're surging a little bit, rather than kind of coming in, I don't want to say stumbling, but with a little more struggle down the stretch?
Crystal, could you answer that?
Sure, I can do that one. I mean, I have a pretty not very great memory, so I don't recall everything that led up to last year in our tournament run. But I definitely think we're coming in this year, with a little bit more confidence and sureness about ourselves. And we've had some great wins, and we've been able to string together a lot of great games on this back end of this season. So I definitely think, as Charlie has said, we're locked in, we know what we need to do, we know how we need to perform, and as we've been talking about earlier, that chemistry too, I think that has come in. As I said, we're peaking kind of now, and hopefully, that bodes well for us and we can just continue on and really make a run in this tournament.
Okay. Thank you, Jamie. We're going to move now to Brenna. Brenna, if you'd like to ask a question.
Hi, this is for both of you guys. You guys got this extra year together because of COVID. Just what is it like now coming into this tournament and knowing that every game that you guys play together, could be your last one playing as WSU players, as sisters?
Charlize, would you like to go first?
Sure. Yeah, like I've said, for the past 2 years, playing with Crystal is just an unbelievable opportunity that I never thought I would have the chance to get, just with our age difference. College playing together wasn't really ever in my future. So I'm just super grateful that I have the opportunity to do that. For me personally, going into these games, it's probably not something, to be honest, that I really think about because I don't really like to get too high or too low with my emotions during the games. And so maybe if I think about that, sometimes I, might get sad or something like that. So I try not to think about it, but, I am definitely just grateful for every minute that we do get to spend on the court. There's no one that I have a better connection with out there on the team, and so that's really special for us. And so, again, I would just say I'm super grateful that I get to do that.
Crystal, anything to add?
I think for the last few years I've been thinking at the end of the season, this is going to be my last one, this is going to be my last one. But I think, like Charlie said, I don't really think about it. We have bigger things to achieve and we're focused on other things other than just playing with each other and these special moments. I know we'll look back in the future and, really cherish these things, but I think right now we're really locked in on the goals we have and the tasks we have to do, and kind of that last game moment with us will be an afterthought.
Okay, I'm afraid that's all the time we have for the student athletes. Ladies, thank you very much and good luck tomorrow night. Coach Etheridge should be starting up here in a few minutes.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you. Go Cougs.
Go Cougs.
All right, we'll now go ahead and continue the press conference with head coach Cammie Etheridge. Coach, if you can make an opening statement, please.
Well, just incredibly excited to be here to bring our team out to North Carolina State and to be a part of this NCAA tournament. Thrilled for our team. Obviously, the second year in a row that we're doing this, trying to change the direction of our program and the tradition of our program, and these players and this team, and predominantly the entire team that's back has really started to do that. So excited that they're experiencing this. We're looking forward to a great game, and this is what you do 365 days a year to prepare yourselves for and to get ready for, and we want to put our best foot forward.
All right, thank you, Coach. Let's open it up. Colton, let's start with him back there.
How do you see the experience of playing in last year's tournament helping this? I know that, rebuild kind of started recently and it's still new territory, but having been in it last year and going in it again, I'd maybe coming in with less jitters this time?
I hope that. I feel like between that and just players experiencing, playing North Carolina State early in the year, Miami, having the schedule that we've had throughout the year, putting ourselves in really tough environments, the pack, the environments of the crowds that you have to face. I think different than a year ago when you didn't face any of those things, different from a year ago when it was all brand new and no crowds and the bubble and, first time, like you said, maybe jitters. And I just hope that we're just a year further along in our journey, and these players have played unbelievably huge amounts of minutes, and you just hope that they feel loose and confident and free and just swing for the fences.
Let's go to Kelly.
Hey, Coach, Kelly Gramlich. We're calling the game tomorrow, so super excited for that. First of all, Ledger Walker sisters are impressive. There's no doubt about it. And I know Crystal played for you at Northern Colorado. Can you tell us the story of how you discovered these sisters from New Zealand?
Yeah, at Northern Colorado, we had a very small budget, and so everything we did was just watching film online, and we lost a player late in the season that wanted to transfer and didn't have a scholarship prior to that, and we had seen a film of Crystal earlier and really liked her, but just didn't have a spot for her. And then when that scholarship opened up, we just jumped at the opportunity. She was well on her path to choosing a school. She already had 5 visits set up, and we started talking to her and just tried to bust through the door and get a visit. And luckily, we were able to be one of the 5 that she just made that whirlwind of in the States for 2 weeks and just went from visit to visit to visit, and just feel fortunate that we were able to really build a good relationship late in the process. And I think she just caught an idea of our vision of what we wanted to become, and her mother is a really unbelievably great coach, and she's and a tough coach and a fiery competitor, and I think she's been around coaches like that her whole career, and I think she felt a comfort in our staff, and the challenge of coming to the States is in and of itself, and then we were lucky to get her at Northern, and the story is she stayed an extra year and then decided to come join us. I think really kind of recommitted herself to her journey of what she wanted to accomplish, wanted the challenge to compete against the very best, and she's made the most of it. She sat 1 year, which ended up being unbelievably beneficial because all of a sudden now her sister comes in and she can play with her, and then COVID allowed a second year. And there were times during this year that we were like, COVID's going to take this year away too, and then we started laughing that maybe she'll be playing with her other little sister at some point. She's just going to keep playing until her other little sister becomes eligible. But we've been really fortunate to be able to watch her growth and her maturation and her leadership skills, and she's just been a key for us in our build.
Let's go back to Kelly, and then we'll come up front, and then we'll get Colton.
Okay, and then Charlize comes along, and obviously she's a big part of your team. So was Crystal saying, look, I've got a sister, she's pretty good? How did that work?
Well, we knew her sister. Her sister is very well known, and we knew we weren't getting her at Northern, and quite frankly, when we left Northern, I don't know that sat well with her family, and just us leaving. That's just always a hard thing that happens when you leave a program and go somewhere else. And I think we gave their family a lot of distance and time, and we weren't sure if Charlize would even remotely consider us. And we were able to just, stay with it and give them some time and let her go through her recruiting process in the early stages. And thankfully, she, I think just the previous relationship really helped us. I think, Crystal coming around and understanding that she wanted to try another level and to follow us out, it all just worked out in our favor. But, Charlize had opportunities to go pretty much anywhere she wanted. And again, just a game changer for our program.
Lindsay, do you have a question? I do, yeah. Lindsay, if that's on video, I'm afraid you cannot.
It's not video. It's not
Wonderful, just checking. Thank you. I appreciate it.
No problem. Just getting the audio.
That's fine.
Coach, we talked a little bit with Longwood about this, about building a program that doesn't have an established reputation, necessarily in women's basketball. What qualities are you looking for in players? What type of player does it take to want to come and establish a legacy as opposed to join a legacy?
I think that's on the player. I think there's some great players out there that really gravitate to being the first, being a part of that first group that hangs a banner, or there's not really another women's basketball banner hanging in the rafters because there hasn't been that great of a tradition. Making tournaments. I mean, some people really gravitate to that. I would tell you that it's been a struggle a little bit at Washington State just because there's been so little success. I mean, there's not very many programs that haven't had times of pretty good success in NCAA tournament appearances. And we fight that. We fight that in the PAC and competing against the great teams and programs and traditions in the Pac-12. So I don't think that's ever going to go away. We got to continue to build that. But we really believe in the kinds of players that gravitate to Washington State. Gritty, tough, passionate. Again, I think people that see our vision of what we want to do and where we're going. I think I've made a lifetime and a living at being, doing more with less. I think my AD talks about that a lot. And I think programs at Washington State are really doing that. I think the quality of coaching that we can give players to develop them, the minutes that they can play early in their career develops them and maximizes them and their ability as a basketball player. And I think our culture is so rock solid strong now that players, when they come and visit us, they see something special going on. They want to be a part of it. And they think they're going to become better players, and I think they understand that they're going to be great teammates when they leave. And if you do those two things, you're going to be an unbelievably great professional at whatever you're doing when you leave.
Colton, did you have a question?
I know you just talked about the Leisure Walkers a bunch, but I was wondering if you could kind of speak on how key they've been in the rebuild, and especially or particularly Crystal. And you've talked about how much of a rock she's been for the program, and just helping kickstart the program and kind of what they've meant to this whole thing.
Well, I think I don't want to minimize even the seniors that have only heard our voice for 4 years. Sheer Levy, who's not with us, she had to have a neck surgery, and Michaela Jones, and actually Ula, who hopefully will be coming back for another year. But those 4 have only heard our voices, and they came before Crystal. And we kind of got our brains beat in for those first 2 years. Not very much of a roster, and had to rebuild the roster and change the culture and change the language and change what was allowed and not allowed, and what a locker room should sound like, and what a gym should sound like, and how you train, and your work ethic, and your commitment level, and your loyalty, and all of those things just had to be reworked. And like I talk about it all the time, we had to be kind of behavior cops that whole first couple of years of, nope, that's not it, yep, that's good, and body language and energy levels and what you do are you a giver, or all those things. We had to really work at all those things, and it was starting to happen. I mean, that started from the day we walked in the gym, and those seniors now, 4-year seniors now, even while we were getting beat, we were changing that foundation. And then you add kids that are already those things, that kids that are committed and know what excellence looks like and know what it means to compete at the highest level and want that challenge. And that was Crystal by the time she comes in. Sits a year, trains, rededicates herself, changes her body. Now all of a sudden her voice is in the gym. It's loud. That's contagious. And then when you add Charlize, the year that Crystal can play, I honestly believe it was just like a multiplication. Like, it wasn't just you add 2 players. They multiplied. Whatever those 2 were, it was like everybody in the gym became way better. And I think Ula was talking to someone off of Oregon, an Australian off of Oregon's team that first year, and we had a chance to beat Oregon on a last-second shot and missed that, and they just went, what the heck? They told Ula afterwards, like, what's happened to you guys? And she just said, the sisters. And I really do. I mean, they just, they're self-aware people and self-aware athletes, and they're not afraid of, criticism or coaching, or they're high IQ players. They want to be good. They want to be challenged at the highest levels. They're all in every way. They're great communicators. They never say a wrong word to the team or in a locker room setting. They don't complain. It's just when you get those kinds of leaders, only good things can happen. And then you combine it with unbelievable leadership in Mick and Sheer and the other people that have been in your program all that time. It really, when the culture piece fits with the talent level, it really can add to the success of your program.
Let's go to Sam.
Hi, Coach. I'm Sam, calling the game with Kelly tomorrow. There are a lot of logistics that go into an NCAA tournament. Part of the reason we call it madness is for the travel. So you guys have to come across the country, and you play at now 8:30 in the morning Pacific time. I know you guys have a lot of travel in the regular season, but what kind of added challenge does this add to your team? And is that something you're going to talk to your players about, kind of getting their bodies ready for an early game?
Well, and then you add the time change, it's really kind of 7:30 to our bodies. So, we work out 2 mornings in the year, so we're pretty accustomed to getting up and practicing early. I do think you have to be concerned and just catching up to the sleep in the right way. I think we were really tired on that first trip on Wednesday when we came, but you just try to get your kids to stay up all day at this point and get a great night's sleep, and we got them up about the time we'll eat tomorrow. Today we did that, even though we didn't really have to. Just do everything that you can to kind of simulate what a game day will look like. But again, I think we're fired up to be here. This is just the coolest experience that we can offer our players. This is what they train for. We need to live in it and be in the moment, and we don't have a complaint in the world.
Okay, let's go front to Lindsay, and then we'll get Colton with the last question after that.
Just wondering what your thoughts are on the matchup tomorrow in the game and Kansas State, and especially obviously that center they have. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. Well, I mean, congratulations to K-State and Jeff and his staff and everything that they've done to get that program at this spot. And they're a hard matchup. Obviously, you want to think that the Pac has prepared you for whatever you might face against another power conference school. Lee is a little bit unique. We haven't seen anyone like her. We certainly haven't seen anyone that scored 61 on someone. So, and we're not real big, so it's a concern. We have to figure out ways to try to make life hard for her. But again, they're talented around her, and they're confident and really great young players that have to feel really confident at this point in the season. So. We can't change anything that we are. We just have to be who we are, and we have to trust that this process has gotten us ready to play against, K-State. And so we're going to do our best, and I just want to, honestly, you just want your team to, try to handle the nerves and try to handle the moment and really just go out there and have a lot of fun and leave the court with no regrets.
Okay, let's go to Colton for the last question.
I heard you talking the other day about, kind of playing down the background with Kansas State, but I'm wondering what was kind of your, initial reaction when you saw Kansas State pop up in your former team, where it's kind of like, oh gosh, of course they picked, this matchup.
I don't know if the NCAA knows or doesn't know, histories of little peon coaches and stuff. But I just think it's ironic. I mean, that's the only thing I would say. Our players hardly even know, half of our staff went to K-State or were at K-State and have no idea how many years we were there. I'm proud of what we accomplished at K-State when we were there. I think, love that opportunity. I think and I think Jeff's done a great job, and the Big 12 is amazing, and I think they've been great this year. I think everybody has, we can all just have circles, how we touch other programs and the connections that we have, especially if you've been in the game this long, it's bound to happen. And again, I think this whole process has nothing to do with the coaches. It's just completely and totally our team and those 13 individuals that I get to coach and the opportunity I get to have to coach them one more game. And I'm super excited, and I want to put them in the best position that I possibly can to make sure that they're successful.
Okay, let's squeeze in one more with Kelly.
One more, Coach, one more. We all know you were part of that Texas team that won a national championship, and so you have seen the sport grow so much in 30 years and seen the tournament change. You have a March Madness logo behind you for the first time. Can you give us some of your thoughts on how the game has changed and what you've seen?
Well, I mean, gosh, I think it's grown. It's there's just no comparison to what it was. But quite frankly, it's probably from last year to this year, it's grown more in that 1 year and some changes within the NCAA probably happened more this past year than it has in 20 years. So, but I also know that there are ADs out there that believe in women's basketball and are investing in women's basketball, and mine is one of them, and they're giving us every opportunity to succeed, and I think that is the difference. Many more programs that are doing that, and now the NCAA is kind of on point, and there's transparency. There's some more accountability, and I think that's a great thing for what we're doing right now. The advertisement, selling out the spots. It just shows that there's a chance for growth, and there's a chance for monetary growth, and it wouldn't have happened probably if we hadn't had the bubble. So I think things like that happen for a reason, and we need to take advantage of it, and we need to keep the pressure on. But obviously, I'm really proud of being given this opportunity at this high of level. So. Hopefully generations in the future are just going to enjoy kind of the growth that it continues to have, and opportunities to market ourselves and and grow the game to another level.
Okay, thank you very, very much, Coach, and good luck tomorrow night. Media, again, lunch from noon to 2 in the South Lobby.